Hello everyone, Kevin Stevenson here with GetMeTheGeek.com, and today we're going to have another installation on our series on OPNSense. Today we're going to learn about port forwarding and firewall rules. When you have lots of things that you need, when you have services that you want to host at your home or your small business or whatever it happens to be, you need to be able to port forward things to that. And also if you have different segmented groups, you need segmented LANs and VLANs and things like that. You need to understand firewall rules. So let's go and take a look at that right now. All right, here we are. So here is our OPNSense. Now, if you've been following along, we've done a couple things here. First things first, we're going to go over here. We are sitting in the lobby. Scroll on down to the firewall, go on NAT, and there's port forwarding rules right here, and then rules. So if you click on the rules, you got floating, LAN, loopback, video, and WAN. This video is the secondary LAN network that we set up. Okay. So if we click on that, you're going to see firewall rules. Okay, so first of all, there are none. Now let's go ahead and look at the LAN. I'll give you the default one. So here is the LAN. And let me just sort of explain these rules a little bit to you. And first of all, let's look at the page right here. And so we've got pass, and then that is a green icon. And then pass disable, which is a gray icon. Like that. So basically you can have these rules sitting right here. And so if you click on this green arrow to that direction, it will turn it gray and that will disable that rule. So that's an important thing to keep in mind, that if you have rules and you need to quick disable them or whatever, but you don't want to delete them, you can do that. So that also goes through for the block rules right here, block and reject, and then logging disabled, in and out. So it shows you all that, whether they're going to be disabled or not. And that's the color coding on it. So that's a very important thing. So one thing also, there's apparently you can do scheduled. Now I've not messed with that. That's interesting. Might have to check that out at some point in time. A scheduled rule might be something that you want to happen between the hours of 8 and 5, that you can remote in, and then after hours you can't, or something to that effect. But let's take a look at this first rule right here that I've highlighted. So we're going to ignore the IPv6 stuff because by and large, I know we're running out of IPs, but you know, for a home or a small business, you're not going to deal with that. So let's look at this. So we got a pass rule in first match, enable logging, and then that's protocol, IPv4, all protocols, source, LAN network, port, any destination port, gateway, scheduled, boom. Now that's default allow rule. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to edit this and we'll look at this a little bit different. So when you go into here, you will see that you will get a big list of stuff here. Now, if you're new to this, go over here, click on this icon, turn on the full help. And that's going to help you look and decide what these rules do and help you along your way. So the first things first is action. If you click on these little arrows right here, it will minimize the help stuff. Okay. So action, pass. So let's just pull that menu down. So we've got pass, block, and reject. And you might be wondering, well, what's the difference between those guys? Well, pass means it's going to let the traffic through. Block means it's going to block it, but it's also going to tell the sender that it blocked it. Reject, you might be wondering, what's the difference between block and reject? Well, that's a good thing to want to know. So one of them is going to block the traffic completely, but it's also going to tell the sender that it blocked it. And the other one's just going to drop the packet, drop it all completely. So, and the difference in which is which? Well, the block drops the packet and the reject rejects the package. Now, the way to think about that, maybe possibly, is that block, it's going to just, boom, hits a wall, blocks it, just drops it. Reject is going to say, no. That's like somebody saying, no, you're not, you can't go here, go back. Block is just like, boom, you hit it, blocks it, nothing, nobody knows. Okay. So that's it. I always get those things confused. Which one is which at the time I'm looking this? Why they don't just say drop versus reject or whatever or block? I don't know. It would make more sense if you do that, but that's not the tool because drop makes 100% sense. Drop that whole thing, drop the packet. So that being said, just Google it when you're doing that if you need to do it. So when do you use one versus the other? So you want to drop the packets when it's outside, like a WAN to LAN. You're going to drop the packets because you don't want to let the sender of those packets know typically that it was that they actually reached something and got a message back. So in the LAN side, internally in your network, you might want to let the sender of the packet know that it was just basically not allowed for that port. So, and that'll show up in your logs. So if you're doing your logs, if you do logging, you can get your information to say, oh, okay, that's port is, not open. So it gives you a little bit, it helps you in your quest to solve problems in your LAN network. So that's where you wanted to use one versus the other. So, and I covered it up here, but if you look right here, this is why you turn on the help. So you don't even have to Google. What's the difference between block and reject is with a reject, a packet is returned to the sender. So like I said, it's like the difference between the cop saying, hey, you can't go here, traffic saying no, telling you can't go there, versus you just hitting a barrier. Okay. And so whereas with the block, the packet is dropped silently. In either case, the original packet is discarded, by the way. So very, very key important thing here, turn on these help things when you're just learning to get these things through. Now, our second item here, disable. So you have a checkbox, you can disable this rule. So if you want to disable a rule initially, just to, take a look at it, get your mind through it, you can do that. Or you want to go in and edit a rule that's enabled and disable it, you can do that through this interface too. So, all right, so quick. Applies an action immediately on match. This is something I'm unfamiliar with, but basically it's just saying so you read the description here, basically last match rule wins. So, and then what you're really going to look at is interface. So the interface that this rule is on. So you'll see here there's LAN, but if I drop this down, we've got the loopback. We have loopback, WAN, and video. Video is my other LAN. So if you had a rule that you created on the LAN side and you said, oops, I actually meant that to be on the video LAN or LAN 2, you can change that interface right here. So this one is set up for the LAN and the direction is in. Like I said, here's a good description. Traffic, the traffic coming in while traffic out. So this tells you source in, firewall out, destination, right? And then you got, is it IPv4, IPv4 and IPv6 or IPv6? You get that right here. Protocol. So this one's a good one. I'll drop this down. And so any is going to give you that star, and that means that all the ones that you see below any are part of that acceptable or part of this rule, whether it's pass or block or reject or whatever. So TCP, UDP, TCP/UDP, so that's both of those, or ICMP. So any means all of it. So that's what we're going to have to do. By the way, this rule is basically that we're looking at is to let all traffic flow in the LAN. Okay. So the source is the LAN net. Okay. So that's everything on this LAN subnet that we have identified. You can go into advanced and you can do some ports and stuff like that, but we're gonna kind of skip that for now. Destination inverted. So you have the possibility to do a reverse match on this. So destination, any. So basically that's any LAN traffic on our LAN subnet going through this firewall, going to any destination is good. And that's what this destination any is. Now you can also do port ranges here. Logging. So if you want to log these packets, you can run it to a remote syslog server or even just the local one here. Check that box. You can do that. So description is where you want to say what is this doing, and so default allow LAN to any rule. So it's a very good description. It says the default action is we're going to take any LAN traffic and anywhere it wants to go, let it. Source OS, see you can change that. If you look in here, all of these things here. So let's just say Windows. So you can look at that too. So that's some filterings that you can do. Note that only works for TCP rules. Okay, so if you're going to do an UDP or IMCP, then it's not going to work. Okay, scheduling, set to none, leaves that rule enabled all the time. Gateway, default, typically you're going to leave that this way. And advanced options you can show and hide. Okay, so we're going to hit cancel. And so that's what that rule is right there, right? So if I go and if you notice there, I clicked on this enable, disable log button. See how it turned it this blue versus the gray? And that's how you can click things on and off. And then you hit apply changes when your firewall needs to actually apply those changes. So you can make some changes, save them, but then wait just a second to apply it all. Or if you have a bunch of rules that you're adding in there and you don't want to apply them all, you don't want to apply each one, you can set them all up and then hit apply for all of them. And so that's how that works. Blocking works the same. So if you want to block something, you just go in there, create a new rule. And so first off, so you see this rule right here? That's the default allow any. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this rule, right? And so that's to take a copy of it. We want to pass. We want to do this. We only want to change. So I want to change this interface to my video interface, right? So direction, protocol, source, I want to say from my video network, right? To any destination, right? Now, I missed the default allow LAN to any rule. We're going to change that. Video LAN to any, right? So there we have it. Boom. We hit save. Right? And so now you will see that there's this video LAN rule. Apply changes. So now that video LAN has access to the other LAN. So the video LAN can talk to the regular LAN now, whereas previously the regular LAN could talk to video LAN, but anything coming from the video LAN network would not be able to talk, would not be able to get out because it didn't have rules to do it. So by default, there was just no rule, so it would be blocked. Okay. Now we could do a specific block, right? Let's talk about port forwarding now. Okay. So we'll go over here and I have this TrueNAS that is set up on this IP address right here, right? So we're going to copy that, right? So go back over here and I go up into NAT port forwarding. And so you'll see there's no port forwarding rule, right? However, there's this anti-lockout rule. And basically that is from the LAN interface, you can go to port 8080.443 on this and be able to access the web interface of this OPNSense. So let's go ahead and add a rule. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to we're going to pretend like we need to access this TrueNAS like it's a web server. And so we'll pretend like it is just a web server, and we're going to open up port 80 to it. And let me just check. Yep, so port 80. So we're going to open up port 80 as if it was a web server sitting in my local network that I wanted the World Wide Web to be able to access. Now that's not something you would ever do with a TrueNAS, but we're going to show for just for this instance, just to show you how to do it. Display for demo purposes, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And then I'll team viewer into a machine that's outside of this network that I'm in, that can come in, and that is on the WAN side of my network, and then we can come in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So again, we say disabled. No, we don't want this disabled. WAN interface, we want to come in from the WAN side. TCP, IPv4, TCP protocol, because HTTP is that, right? Destination. So here we can do some stuff. Single host or network, right? So remember I had that IP address, that 192.168.22.103. So that is going to be the IP address we want. Hey, okay. We're going to back that up just a little bit. So the destination is going to be our WAN IP address, right? Right. The WAN address. So I was going down the wrong road there for a second, and I was like, wait a minute. So yeah. So, and again, in this port forward, so coming from the outside in, they want the destination that the outside user is going to be the WAN IP, the WAN address. And so that's why you say WAN address here. Now, again, we're doing HTTP for our destination port. So there, you're going to hit my WAN IP address, which if I go back up here to the lobby and I go to my dashboard, and if you look down here, my WAN is this 227 number, right? So that's, if you go to that 227 number IP address on port 80, that is going to the WAN IP address. Okay, so hopefully you got that, understood everything. So the target IP address is going to be that IP address of the TrueNAS. So that is 192.168.22.103, right? Right. And again, and so that's a redirect port to port 880 also, which is HTTP. So these ports don't have to match. So imagine there's a situation where you have multiple web servers on your network that you wanted to get to. So you could, from the WAN side, say, okay, port 81 goes to port 80 of one of your web servers. So like you can go up here. So we change this to 81, right? You click other, change it to 81, right? Right. And then down here, you could go down here and you could say change it to port 80. So that way on the WAN side, you go to the WAN IP address, port 80, and we'll send that traffic through to actually the TrueNAS on port 80. So you come in 81 from the outside, it changes that to port 80, and boom. Okay. Default, leave this stuff. We don't need to log the packages. We're going to say, here we go. Web server on true, right? Something like that. And then boom. So what you see here is this WAN to TCP WAN address and port 80 going to 103 and 8080. So here's 103. So now if I just go and I take my WAN IP address, which is 172.168.70.227, and I do a :80. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the HTTP in the front of it because the browsers these days tend to want to redirect or change things to HTTPS automatically. So boom. So now you will see there we are in our TrueNAS setting that TrueNAS using the IP address of the WAN connected to it. Okay, so that's how you port forward. So, all right. So thank you for joining me for this video on setting up port forwarding and a little bit of firewall rules. If you have questions, go ahead and drop a comment. We really appreciate that. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I appreciate that. Like this video, give me a comment, go buy me a coffee, all that good stuff. The important thing is that you're getting something out of these videos, and as long as you got value, then I'm happy. Anything you do for me as far as subscribing and hitting the like buttons is bonus for me. I appreciate it. You can join my channel. You can subscribe to my channel for like $1.99 a month. That gives you access to my Discord server. And in my Discord server, everybody can have conversations. And if you have more in-depth questions, I can pop in there and we can have a conversation. So that's one of the benefits of joining as a member of my channel. So check that out if you're interested. We'll see you next time.